Are we in a housing bubble? Prices are skyrocketing. There's no houses to look at. It feels a lot like 2007, 2008. Or does it? Stay tuned to hear what the Clark Group thinks about the housing bubble that we're in today. Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex Clark, the Clark Group, Keller Williams Realty, Portland Premier. I'm excited today to talk to you a little bit about the market. And God, I get questions all the time from clients about, Alex, are we in a housing bubble? Feels like we're back in 07. There's bidding wars and there's no inventory and prices are skyrocketing. And it's a valid question. When we see this kind of market activity, it's an absolutely valid question to ask. I'm going to share with you a little bit of details today about the market and our sentiment, and we'll just talk about it a little bit. So the first reason I think that we are not in a housing bubble is the buyers are better qualified, quite frankly. We have higher credit scores, larger down payments, which is the exact opposite of 04, 05, 06, 07, and then what led to the 08 crash. Back then, buyers were putting down as little as possible and had much worse scores. If you look back in here, look at the low-end credit scores, and then they just disappeared, right? There's very little really subpar credit scores. And then look at the high credit scores, how much of a percentage that they are of obtaining loans. So buyers are just generally more qualified. Additionally, banks have tightened the reins on the qualifications, making it harder to obtain the financing. So number one point, buyers are better qualified. Point number two, housing supply. Everything in the world consists of supply and demand. When you have low supply and high demand, prices go up. That's just natural. Look at toilet paper and COVID-19 back in March 2020. Toilet paper was on the rise. Look at lumber now. Have you gone to Home Depot? Piece of plywood's like $100. It's crazy. That's a bubble, but they're going to make more of it. We're not making more houses. We're making more, but we're not making more of them, and I'll show you a graph in a minute. But where have all the houses gone, right? So here's the inventory since a little before 2000, and we're at historic lows. Now in Portland Metro, we're at 0.8 months of inventory. Now to put that in perspective, you guys, we think that a market that's not necessarily a buyer's market or a seller's market is between 4 and 6 months. And we haven't seen 4 months of inventory in Portland since sometime in 2015, okay? We got close in 2018, but then it came back down. We're at 0.8 months, meaning like 3 weeks. If we stopped letting houses come on the market today, in 3 weeks, for all of Portland Metro, there'd be 0 houses to buy. Now, why is there so much demand? Well, we have incredible interest rates. People can afford more and qualify for more. Sellers are staying put due to COVID, right? We have a reduction in the number of listings just naturally. People are afraid to, some of them anyway, put their home on the market for COVID. And one of the things that's really interesting to me, and I'm hypothesizing here, I'm being strategic, is that, when rates go up, people are saying, well, when rates go up and it becomes harder to qualify for the mortgage, it's going to put pressure on inventory, and inventory is going to rise. Well, I agree, it put a little bit of pressure on prices, but I don't think it puts pressure on inventory, because we're going to have a bunch of sellers that have bought, or homeowners that have bought a home or their home at 2.5%, 3%, maybe 3.5%. And if rates are at, let's say 6%, are they going to want to sell their 3% mortgage and go to a 6% mortgage and move up? I'm not so sure that they will. I think that we're going to see, as rates rise over time, I think that we're going to see a lot of people remodel and do additions to their houses and decide to stay put and keep their 3% mortgage rather than going up. That's just my my take on that. And then lastly, the hangover caused by the '08 collapse or the housing crisis, it'll effectively forced home builders to kind of pull back on the number of homes being built. The number of building permits and housing starts are down 26 and 37% respectively since peaking in 2006. So here's a chart showing permits and housing starts. And look where we are. Here's the line is 0, right? We're way down. And in Portland, it's worse because we have the urban growth boundary. And well, I guess in the state it's worse because we have the urban growth boundary. So we're nowhere near how fast home builders were building homes. And there's my kids in the background running. Homeschooling, it's good. Anyway, home builders can't catch up, especially with the urban growth boundary. So we need to build more houses, but we're not going to be able to solve the inventory problem with new construction. The third reason I think that we're not in a housing bubble is that Americans have better balance sheets. Okay, we have less debt, we have more equity in our homes, and we're just in a financially better situation than we were in 2008. Fourth reason that I believe we are not in a housing bubble is prices are rising for the right reason. Okay, millennials have now entered the market. Millennials are, the oldest millennials are turning 40 this year, apparently. And this generation put off home buying much longer than maybe my parents did or their parents did. Millennials went off to college at a larger percentage of the generation, or they put it off due to the financial crisis. And they're also getting married later in life, right? So they don't necessarily need the room. So now they're entering the market, and that's increasing the demand. Couple that with historic low interest rates, and there's just a natural amount of demand. Like all generations, millennials got older and they're getting married, and maybe their first house that they bought, a 3-bedroom, 1-bath ranch or something, and now they have a couple kids and they're needing to move up and they want more yard space. And when you put in COVID to the equation and working from home, and the kids are stuck doing school at home, you want yard space and you want a 4th bedroom or an office or whatever. And so they're entering the market like wildfire, and it's for good reason. It's natural. So anyway, those are the reasons that we think we are not in a housing bubble. Supply and demand. We have better qualified buyers. We have a better financial situation for Americans. And there's a ton of buyers entering the market for the first time, those millennials. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope it was informational. Let us know if you have any questions. We're always available to help. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.